Carrie, roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Here.
Hilda Ortega Rosales, Susan Sarin,
Here.
Martin Quezada, Jet White,
Here.
Isabella,
Here.
Isabel,
Here.
and Muzda.
Here.
There being 4 members, there is a quorum.
Thank you, Carrie. I'd like to call the regular meeting of January 18th, 2022 to order. As a reminder, please mute your microphones when others are speaking and unmute when it is your turn. This will help with background noise. I'd like to welcome everybody joining us on Facebook Live to view our very first meeting of 2022. This meeting will be held virtually with no public in-person attendance. And I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sarin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Ortega Rosales. Carrie, roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Yes.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Yes.
Susan Sarin,
Yes.
and Jet White.
Yes.
There being 4 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, Carrie. As it is our first meeting of 2022, nominations are now in order for the office of Vice President for the 2022 year as we do our reorganizations. Are there any nominations for Vice President?
I'd like to nominate Martin Quezada for Vice President.
Mr. Quezada is nominated, Senator Quezada is nominated. Are there any further nominations for office of Vice President? Since there are no other nominations, can I have a motion to approve Martin Quezada as Governing Board Vice President?
So move.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Arenas. Any discussion? Carrie, roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Yes.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Yes.
Susan Sarin,
Yes.
and Jet White.
Yes.
There being 4 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, Carrie. Now nominations are now in order for the office of President for the 2022 year. Are there any nominations for President?
I'd like to nominate Mr. White as President.
Thank you, Ms. Sarin. Are there any further nominations for office of President? Since there are no other nominations, can I have a motion to approve Jet White as the Governing Board President?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Arenas. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Sarin. Any discussion? Carrie, roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Yes.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Yes.
Susan Sarin,
Yes.
Martin Quezada, and Jet White.
Yes.
There being 5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, Carrie. Dr. Cruz, do you have any comments?
Yes, good evening, Mr. President, esteemed governing board members, student board members, cabinet, and our audience. I just want to congratulate our amazing board members. I appreciate your service, and I genuinely appreciate you, Mr. White, stepping into the presidency of our board once again. I have a plaque for you, which I know is exactly what you were hoping for your living room. So I think Mary's going to be delighted to see that. But really, as a token of our appreciation for your leadership over the course of what has been certainly an interesting last year, we really appreciate your leadership, and also want to congratulate Senator Quezada for having been nominated and selected as our vice president again. Again, thank you, sir, for your leadership. It's so appreciated, particularly during these unstable times. So thanks to both of you. You are appreciated, and we believe in you.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz, and thank you to our board members again. Thank you for the renomination. And like Dr. Cruz said, it has been quite a year, and Dr. Cruz and I have had many conversations about having our first year, myself as board president, and first full year as superintendent, and being able to go through that together. So I look forward to continuing to serve, and look forward to continuing to serve with a great board. And I know we'll talk more about that tonight with Governing Board Recognition Month this month. So thank you again. Dr. Cruz, would you like to introduce our student board members, give their school reports tonight, please?
Mr. President, esteemed board members, student board members, cabinet, and the community, it is my pleasure to introduce Isabel from Canyon Breeze, serving the communities of Canyon Breeze, Rio Vista, Amberlea, and Desert Horizon. Isabel.
Good evening, Mr. President, esteemed board members, Dr. Cruz, members of the cabinet, and members of the audience. I am Isabel. I am from Canyon Breeze School, representing the community of Rio Vista, Amberlea, and Desert Horizon. Highlights from these schools are: first, Canyon Breeze. Highlight 1, we held our school spelling bee and wish to congratulate Luvinia Munoz. Highlight 2, we want to thank our CB staff who continuously show up for students every day. Highlight 3, our school science fair is happening now, and we can't wait to see all of our amazing student projects. Rio Vista, highlight 1, our NGHS held a food drive in collaboration with the city of Avondale. Rio Vista came in 3rd place for the amount of food donated amongst the other schools in Avondale that participated. Highlight 2, we held our school spelling bee, and we are proud to recognize Trina Tran as our school winner. Highlight 3, we also held our school geography bee. Many congratulations to Harry Leola, who was the winner for Rio Vista. Amberlea, highlight 1. Words cannot describe how truly grateful we are to have such amazing people in this world, especially during these unprecedented times. Thank you, Amberlea staff. Highlight 2, students at Amberlea continue to expand their learning by integrating technology through the Verizon Innovative Learning. Highlight 3, Amberlea is extremely proud of our amazing district spelling bee winner, Raven de la Cueva. Way to go, Raven. Desert Horizon, highlight 1. The November excelling Eagle educator is Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones teaches 6th grade math and is a wonderful teacher. Congratulations. Highlight 2. Desert Horizon held our spelling bee, and our winner, Alejandro Flores, did a great job at the district spelling bee. Go Eagles. Highlight 3, we also held our geography bee. Many congratulations to Levy Pinion and Zoe Oliveras, who were the winners. I also would like to have appreciation of thank you.
Isabel, thank you so much for that report. We appreciate you. And now serving the communities of Sunset Ridge, West Wind, Desert Mirage, and Pendergast, we have Isabella.
Good evening, Mr. President, esteemed board members, Dr. Cruz, members of cabinet, and members of audience. I am Isabella. I am from Sunset Ridge, representing the community of West Wind, Desert Mirage, Sunset Ridge, and Pendergast. 3 highlights from Sunset Ridge are: Sunset Ridge would like to congratulate 6th grader Isabella Moore on being our school winner and placing as a runner-up in our district spelling bee. Secondly, we also held our geography bee and would like to congratulate 6th grader Giancarlo Payan, who took 1st place in our school competition. Lastly, we would like to recognize our hardworking staff at Sunset Ridge, who are working tirelessly to cover classes and take on extra roles and responsibilities in order to provide a safe and consistent learning environment for our students during this unexpected time. 3 highlights for West Wind are: the West Wind soccer team won the district championship with a record of 6 wins and 0 losses. Secondly, the West Wind School Counselor has been partnering with classroom teachers and setting PBIS behavior goals with students. Lastly, the West Wind students are very busy working on science fair projects. 3 highlights for Desert Mirage are: Desert Mirage values each and every staff member's flexibility, teamwork, and extraordinary understanding as we make each day a positive experience for our scholars. Desert Mirage truly is a one school, one family. Secondly, Desert Mirage recently participated in amazing professional development for Kurdish Ashby on the new Promethean boards. Shout out to IT and Ed Services for all of the support to be able to provide these fantastic resources to our classrooms. Lastly, Desert Mirage congratulates Site Geography B winners 8th grade Reyes Cardanes and Alex Valenzuela, as well as our 3rd grader Spelling Bee winner Kevin Cordero. 3 highlights for Pendergast are: Pendergast students recently presented their science fair projects. Their hard work is super impressive, and Mr. Aguinaldo and Ms. Hofer did a great job preparing our students. Secondly, Pendergast students, athletes are gearing up for upcoming track meets. 6th and 8th graders practice twice a week and are excited for the upcoming meet. Lastly, Pendergast students are working hard to meet Capit, Lexia, and Dreambox goals each week. Students have met Capit 4-day goals every week for several months. And lastly, before I finish, I just wanted to thank the board for supporting Pendergast, taking your time, having these amazing meetings. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabella. And now serving the communities of Garden Lakes, Copper King, Sonoran Sky, and Villa de Paz, we have Mushta from Garden Lakes.
Good evening, Mr. President, esteemed board members, Dr. Cruz, members of cabinet, and members of the audience. I am Lucia. I'm from Garden Lake School, representing the communities of Villa de Paz, Copper King, and Sonoran Sky. Here are the highlights. Garden Lakes, highlight 1. We held our school spelling bee, and we proudly recognize our 8th grader, Ava Castro, as our school winner, and she will be representing us at the district competition. Highlight 2. We also held our geography bee, and we would like to extend a hearty congratulations to our 8th grader, Musha Mateen, for representing our schools at the district finals. Highlight 3. Our schools completed our cancer fundraiser during the month of December, and we doubled the goal. Garden Lakes was proud to donate $2,400 to the American Cancer Research Fund. Copper King highlight. Highlight 1. Copper King would like to congratulate Edward Kuhn and Elizabeth Perdue, who were the school geography bee winners. Highlight 2. Its teaching staff at Copper King have been analyzing data and making plans to ensure that student growth continues this semester. And highlight 3 for Copper King, we would like to thank the incredible staff at Copper King who are doing whatever it takes to ensure students' learning and safety are a priority during this unique year. Sonoran Sky highlights. Highlight 1. 2 of Sonoran Sky fabulous teachers, Miss Martinez and Miss Castle, completed their computer science endorsements through ASU. As a result, Sonoran Sky will receive a class set of iPads to be used for instruction. Highlight 2. Prior to winter break, the Sonoran Sky students enjoyed a winter Wonderland Carnival as their December PBIS reward for meeting behavior expectations. Students enjoyed a variety of games, crafts, and activities. Everyone had a wonderful time. Highlight 3 for Sonoran Sky. Congratulations to Zoe Valenzuela and Maximus Garcia. Both students are in fifth grade at Sonoran Sky. Zoe won the school geography bee and Max won the school spelling bee. And Villa de Paz highlight 1. Villa de Paz was featured in an article in the West Valley View newspaper showcasing our middle school Python programming for Computer Science Week. Highlight 2. The Villa de Paz Science Fair is scheduled to open on January 24th and will be available to the community for viewing our students' effort. Middle school students presented their efforts last week. And highlight 3. Villa de Paz would like to congratulate Lillian R. and Oscar S., who were the school geography bee winners and who will be participating in the district finals. And as I'm done with that, since it is the board appreciation month, I would like to thank all of you for supporting us as students and adults as staff. You've all been very supportive through everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Mushta. Mr. President, I believe those are all of our student board updates.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. And again, thank you to Isabella, and Mushta for your updates. At this point, we'll have a summary of current events. Dr. Cruz, once again, good evening, and throw it back to you.
Good evening, Mr. President, esteemed board members, student board members, cabinet, and our community. It has been some time since we have had the opportunity to come together at a board meeting. So, Mr. President, you'll have to forgive me for a longer than typical update. Don't worry, we'll start having governing board meetings more frequently, and then I'll keep my update shorter. You're welcome. All right, let's start off with some really important news, and that is that our kindergarten readiness events, one of a number of them, are about to kick off. So if there are folks in the community around you, maybe even living in your house, that are going to be school aged starting this fall, we sure hope that you will come join us at the kindergarten readiness event on January 27th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the PCC. We will have other opportunities available for families to connect with us and get your student registered for kindergarten, but we're so excited about this event. And kudos to the whole team that's been planning this event. We're really excited to welcome new kindergartners to the family in August. Also want to, to take a moment here to give a COVID update. COVID is this challenge that we thought we would be in our homes for 2 weeks on timeout. Little did we know, right? 2 years later, we still don't have cases. And here we are. So, COVID is now this problem that's just kind of constantly in the room, right? Sometimes it's a manageable size, and sometimes it feels like it grows really, really big. And so, we're at one of these moments in time with COVID where the problem has certainly gotten bigger and more complex. And so, first and foremost, thanks to our staff who have just done remarkable work to be all in for every student. Truly, from I can't think of a single staff member, frankly, who has not been impacted by this opportunity to learn and grow and do some different duties in order to make sure that we're taking care of every single student. So kudos to staff. My real appreciation to the leaders who are on this call, and those of you who are often doing other work right now, getting ready for our kids for tomorrow. Our leadership team has been just outstanding in how we've managed this, and it's just been great, honestly, to get a chance to do morning duties and see the staff come together. I mean, really, really impressive how well the staff is at large. I mean, the entire staff is taking care of our students right now. So much appreciation. And my appreciation to all of you members of the board. I think that all too often this becomes a politicized issue, when the reality is that this is a health issue, it's a safety issue for our students and for our staff. And I appreciate your steadiness and your leadership as we've experienced this. So yes, we do have a high number of staff absences. Yes, we do have a high number of student absences. I've been giving all the members of the board ongoing updates about, staff and operations and whether or not we remain operational. We do remain fully operational. Truly, that's because of the hearts of this staff. You're just not going to find bigger hearts or more caring people. So, we continue to be operational. The cabinet team talks about where we're at each school every day. So just know that we're keeping an eye on things, and I will continue to update all the members of the board as things kind of grow and get smaller. We have paused our extracurricular activities at our schools because we simply couldn't think of an extracurricular activity that truly only involved a grade level of students. So our schools are all in for students, and so when we do sports, when we do activities, when we do interventions, all the kids come. And so we're trying to kind of keep it down to grade level bands of people for a little while. We're also concerned that with student absences, we're having a volleyball season, okay? It's happening. And we are deeply concerned that with the high number of student absences, right when we were getting ready to do volleyball tryouts, frankly, that students would miss a season that they've been waiting too long for. So, in 2 weeks, we're really hopeful, just based on the calls and the different, information that we're being given. There's an idea out there in the universe that we're getting closer to the end of this wave, and that it's very possible that in the next 2 to 3 weeks that this particular wave, again, this COVID being bigger, is going to get smaller again and back down to a more manageable piece. So that's what we're looking at right now. Just wanted to make sure that you all know that it truly is just a pause. We're just taking a moment of zen, and we're going to be back at full force, and we're super excited to be starting our volleyball season. Those tryouts will happen soon. We're also going to be obviously getting back into it with track. So again, all of our activities continue. They're just on hold for right now. I also want to do a shout out. So we had our spelling bee, we had our geography bee. They were socially distanced. And I'm just so proud of the students. You really, the kids have to put themselves out there, to do these activities. And they do it with just such an open, great spirit. And I really appreciated the opportunity to talk with our students. So I want to give a shout out to Amber Elias. They had our district spelling bee winner. Congratulations. And I want to give a shout out to Villa de Paz, because they had our district geography bee winner. And again, to all the students who competed, they're really cool people. It was really nice to have an opportunity to meet them and chat them up. We also had some students win the AZ ALAS, it's the Arizona Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents Art Award for the state. We had 2 winners. There were only 3 winners, and we had 2 of them. So, we want to do a shout out to the arts. Good on you for all of our visual arts teachers, all of our fine arts teachers, our physical educators, we appreciate everything that you do for our students too. So congratulations to those students from Copper King and Desert Horizon for having won awards. And thank you to AZ Alas for giving our kids the opportunity to shine. I just think that's fantastic. Also had the opportunity to attend the grand opening of the Glendale Heroes Lake Park. So if you don't know, there's a fantastic park not far from here. It's called Heroes Park, and they just stocked it with rainbow trout. So if you've got your license and are able to go fishing, there you go. Great place to be. And then finally, let me see, I just want to make sure that I've run through all of these different pieces. All right, we are going to also take a moment to pause and share our appreciation for everything that the governing board does for us. It is School Board Appreciation Month. And we think it's really important to acknowledge the elected officials who give so much to this community every day. Really, I think you guys don't get a day off. I apologize for that. We're trying to do better. But there's more on that later. So, Mr. Wright, I believe that's all.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. Mr. Arenas, good evening.
Good evening, President White, members of the board. No, in terms of my updates, really, you've mentioned the governing board multiple times, Dr. Cruz, but really it's about the Isabellas, and the Mustas of the world. So I thank you for allowing us to serve you. This is really an honor. I've often said that, and I'll continue to say that there's no such thing as over communicating my love, our support as a board to the community. I'm not sure if we met since the toy drive. I'm kind of, I don't know if my age is kicking in or what's happening, but nonetheless, again, there's no such thing as over communicating and over thanking individuals who were a big part of our successful toy drive. Again, to the cabinet, Dr. Cruz's leadership for supporting that effort. I know it takes a village, certainly does. The Pohlmeyer family, again, it's a blast. It's always a blast to be out there connecting with the Pohlmeyer family, and of course, all the supporters who were out there supporting, the toy drive. Last but not least, yes, Dr. Cruz, you've mentioned, and I want to once again for the third time over communicate this, but there's no such thing as doing that. That is that our staffs, you look at the Miss Tussies of the world. Thank you. Unfortunately, we're living the world of COVID, and there's many implications day in, day out. I'm sure that Miss Tussie, she's a lady of honor, a leader of honor. Weekends, evening calls, mitigation plans, emotional calls. This COVID is emotional. It's draining for many, many people. We all deal with it differently, right? And it affects our families and our community. So again, Ms. Tussie, to you, your efforts, your leadership, Dr. Cruz, and supporting our classrooms, the Miss Fembrises of the world trying to find money or always finding money to support whatever way we can. It's the little things that make a difference. It's not easy when you have 30-40% fill rate. Again, district office covering. And so again, I just want to thank each and every one of you. Happy New Year. And it's nice to be back. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to formally, well, no, I think there'll be another time. Maybe I'll wait. I don't want to miss. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arenas. I look forward to that comment. I guess it's a cliffhanger. I know. Ms. Ortega Rosales, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, President White. First of all, I want to welcome everybody back from the holiday break. I know that it's like everybody has said already, a very difficult time. So I'm hoping that the couple of weeks that you did get to breathe a little bit were rejuvenating and you were able to spend time with your family. In terms of some of the things that I participated in, either during the break or a little bit after that, I attended the ASBA conference where we had excellent breakout sessions. The general session events were excellent. The vendor shows were excellent. It was just a very, very good conference. And we'll talk later about what the real highlight was for our community in terms of that conference in a little bit. But I would tell you that what I am so impressed with in terms of ASBA is they truly are embracing equity and what truly is going to facilitate for all school districts the infrastructure and the tenacity to continue to go forward with making sure that there's equity across the board for all our students in this state. So kudos to ASBA and all their efforts and their leadership, because they provide us with excellent professional development and advocacy as we also strive for that equity for our students in our community. The other thing that I attended was the Lunch and Learn, a parent lunch and learn, and it was excellent last week. We had the Arizona Child Find presentation by Assistant Director Ray James. It was excellent. As most of you know, I come from a school district. I was an administrator there, and so I'm familiar with Arizona Child Find, but it's good to have a refresher every once in a while, because it's important as a board member for me to understand obviously the compliance requirements that are placed on us, but most importantly, how making sure that we're reaching out to our children early in their childhood to ensure that they are able to have the resources to develop as best that they can prior to entering kindergarten. And you know that's very important, because as it was shared by Ms. James, there's the first 3 years are so critical in the development of our child's brains, and if you are in need of additional support, it's important to get that early. So kudos to that for that presentation. It was excellent. And then we had a representative from Opportunity Tree, Mr. Neil Hallohan, who also did an extremely good job in presenting to us the opportunities that we have, resources for our children, those who are in need of special services. And he did an excellent job. And I was very impressed with his Spanish as well, and how he translated that presentation, and his energy and his engagement was very impressive. So thank you to Opportunity Tree and that partnership that we have now made even stronger. And in terms of AZ Alice Conference, as Dr. Cruz mentioned earlier, there's a couple of things that are really important in terms of that art competition. I believe it was 50 entries from throughout the state, with only 3 winners, and we had 2. So that is definitely an accomplishment and an achievement for our children. And thank you to all our teachers who were involved in encouraging the kids to submit their work. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor Rosales. Ms. Aaron, good evening.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. I too attended the ASBA conference, and it was great. As Ms. Ortega Rosales said, we had excellent speakers. I also went to a presentation where Dr. Cruz presented on being a new superintendent, and it was great. She did a great job of representing the Pendergast School District. Thank you for that, Dr. Cruz. And I also attended the Parent Lunch and Learn, and it was great. Again, great presentations for our parents, and I really appreciate that. This morning, it was a great morning this morning. It was the Geography Bee, and I went to it, and our students are so great. They are so cute, and they are so smart. I'll tell you, all of the students competing, they were fantastic, and they knew a lot more than I did about the entire world, actually, because some of the questions were really, really tough. Congratulations to our winners. Our first and second place were at Villa de Paz. And I want to thank all of the students that competed. You're all fantastic, and I am proud of all of you. Thank you. And I just want to say, along with everyone else, thank you to our entire staff for all that you are doing. I know it was rough coming back with this Omicron and with all the students and staff being out, so many of the staff. Everybody is doing a magnificent job to keep things rolling. And I know it's not easy, and thank you just doesn't seem enough, but I really appreciate all that you do. And hang in there. It's bound in the next couple weeks. I really do hope that a lot of this is going to go away and things can return hopefully to a little bit more normal. So hang in there, everyone. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aaron. Senator Quesada.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. It's good to see everybody. I came straight from the Capitol here today. It's the start of a new legislative session, started earlier this week. This will be my last one as a state senator. I'm termed out after this year, so it's been an honor to serve in this role. But it will be my last one, so I'm kind of doing my farewell tour right now. We did have 3 new senators that got sworn in the last couple of months. Raquel Terán from District 30, which is just a little bit east of us. Senator Stahl Hamilton in Tucson replaced Senator Engel. And then we had Senator Teresa Hatatli from the Navajo Nation up in LD7. So 3 new people. I'm getting to know all of these new people and learning how to work with them now, but it's definitely been a fun environment. I was almost added to the Education Committee, and I was really excited about that. I was hoping to, and so I was added on it, but then we appointed Senator Hatatli, and she has a background. She served on the Board of Regents for the Navajo Nation. And so they're like, yeah, she's got probably, we should probably just keep her there. And so she took my spot there on the committee, but she's good. And I'm excited to have her there. And it would have been my 3rd committee. So I was too busy anyway. But speaking of the education committees, they did meet this afternoon. One of them just ended about an hour ago. 2 bills of note that I'll mention to you all. In the House, House Bill 2112 is kind of the anti-critical race theory bill. They're bringing that back. They had a long debate about it in committee, but it just passed out of the committee earlier this afternoon. And in the Senate, Senate Bill 1011, and we had my colleagues speaking about ASBA. This is the anti-ASBA bill. It would actually prohibit us from using our funds, our district funds, to pay for dues in the ASBA or the NSBA. And so, yeah, that one's a little scary. And so, I mean, that would devastate the ASBA here in Arizona. I can't think of many districts that would use their own personal money to join that organization. And so, yeah, that's a troubling one, but it moved forward by a 5-3 vote this afternoon as well. The governor gave his State of the State speech. I'm sure you all kind of followed along and either read it or listened to it. I'll say from myself, I thought it was pretty hostile to public education. He made 0 mention of COVID, which is a big part of our discussion already here today. Really no mention of that whatsoever. He's going to expand school choice. He made no mention at all about the aggregate expenditure limit, which I know is coming up on March 1st. And that's a big issue. One of my colleagues proposed 3 different bills, 3 different options on how to deal with that. So one is the first option is just a 1-year exemption of the expenditure limitation. So that would just allow us to avoid that $1.2 billion in cuts. The second option, which is less likely to have success, is to repeal the expenditure limit altogether. There's really no purpose for it. I mean, there's not a real good reason the way you have it at all. That would have to, but the voters would have to do that because it amends the Constitution. So this would send that issue to the voters and just ask them to repeal the expenditure limitation altogether. And the third one, which is even less likely than the first 2, was sending it to the voters, repealing the expenditure limitation, but then update and then up at the same time updating the base year from 1980 to 2022, and then using weighted student counts, which would be good for us, exempting Prop 301 dollars and then exempting Prop 208 dollars if 208 survives, which it probably won't either. So that's a more aggressive version. We're going to be proposing those, and we'll see if the legislature takes action, but we're running out of time quickly. And so this may be something where I may ask you guys to reach out and talk to folks about this, because this is a big deal, and we haven't taken any action yet. In addition to all of that, we did finalize our redistricting. And so I wanted to mention for Pendergast, where up to this point, we've been split into 2 legislative districts. One of them is mine in District 29, and the other is District 19. Now we will be in just one district. I think that's a good thing. And it's District 22, which takes all of Pendergast and then goes south into Tolleson and Avondale, and what was mostly LD19 before. So we'd have one set of legislators to deal with after this new map takes effect. So I thought that was a good thing. And so I was advocating for school districts to not be broken up, because it's easier to hold people accountable if you've got less of them. And so I thought that was a good thing. Aside from that, I've attended just a handful of Pendergast events over the last, since our last meeting. Haven't been able to get to a lot of them. The last one I think I was at was the AZ Alas one. I did go to a lunch and learn as well, and then AZ Alas before that. But these are good conferences. You learn a lot there, and so I'm hoping that we can continue to go to ASBA as well in the future. But with that, I think that's all I've got, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Quesada. Yeah, I'm also just following redistricting closer. So kind of to echo Senator Quesada, kind of going from landscape to portrait. So getting kind of up and down versus side to side where some of us were before, which again I think is a good thing, and potentially a new U.S. congressman as well. So I know that where I live, my representative represents most of southern Arizona currently and down into Tucson, and it looks like we'll be a little bit more in the Phoenix area. So keep an eye on that as I'm sure it works its way through the courts as well. Had an opportunity over the break again to continue on and peek at Prodigy and Dreambox and Lexia. So I'm just super excited that those resources are available to our students even when we are on a break, depending on if folks actually need a break or if they're just can't wait to continue on and learning. So it's good. I know that we've made the mistake of calling it Capit, and Capit is for our younger students, and now we're on to Lexia and learning how to spell. And I feel like some nights it's either, depending on your opinion, it's either a good who's on first routine or a bad who's on first routine, trying to figure out how to spell certain words. And again, just, I wish that I could say more than thank you. I wish we could do more than thank you. I know that it is a genuine thank you for what everybody is going through and sacrificing and doing those other duties as assigned, whether it's cabinet and Dr. Cruz getting out in the crosswalks and doing morning duty and making sure everybody gets their breakfast, teachers giving up their preps, classified staff as well as certified staff, really making those sacrifices to make sure that our students are looked after and cared for and are learning as well. I know that for me, I'm seeing a lot more of my colleagues in my building than I have in the past that maybe teach on other sides of my campus, because they're coming to cover teachers that are out in my building. And those school secretaries are sending those emails at 11 o'clock at night saying, hey, we got this many openings, and 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm getting those, where I work anyway as well. So I know the reality of what we're going through. And again, just wish I could offer more than thank you, but a genuine, sincere thank you. Dr. Cruz, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. I apologize. I'm on the wrong page. Back. All right. Next on our agenda is citizens' comments. Carrie, are there any citizens comments? Nope. Am I still on the wrong page? I'm sorry. Am I in the right spot? Okay. So your special presentation at this time? I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Dr. Cruz, you have a special presentation tonight to recognize our board members for board appreciation night. It's like a teleprompter in Anchorman. Man.
Good evening, Mr. President, esteemed board members, student board members, cabinet, and our community. We have a fantastic board and we've got all kinds of evidence to prove it. You know, I'm all about the data and we've got all kinds of amazing things that this governing board does. But, you know, one thing that was really a point of pride is that at the December Arizona School Board Association meeting, one of our very own, Miss Susan Sarin, was the recipient of a very prestigious All Arizona School Board Member Award. And we are just so proud of her. So the board will remember, of course, that you had approved her nomination, you know, for that award. And she was selected for the All Arizona School Board from across the state. So truly remarkable when you think about the number of school board members that are out there in service of their community. You know, she's been a long-serving board member, you know, and the members of the review committee were amazed to see that she's been serving our district and community since 1986. And it's a true commitment. And so we have a video to share with you that ASBA made that I think does an outstanding job showing just the commitment and just some of the incredible things that Ms. Sarin has done. So we're going to ask Mr. Pohlmeyer to go ahead and share his screen and share that video.
Susan Sarin has been an exceptional and active leader in the Pendergast community. She has proudly served on the Pendergast School District Governing Board for 35 consecutive years and has exhibited leadership throughout her involvement as a chairperson on numerous committees. She is one of the 5 board members who was honored with the ASBA's Luella Klein's Excellence in Governing Board Award in 2020. During her tenure on the board, she has served in every office, including president. Ms. Sarin has received numerous commendations and awards for her work in the community. Susan has served on the board of the Pendergast Education Foundation, which offers scholarships to teachers for additional education or training as part of the district's I Teach program through the Arizona State University. She helped run the Pendergast West End Little League, served on the board of the Saguaro Soccer Club, and was president of the Pendergast District Sports Council. Susan has also overseen the process for selecting 3 superintendents for the Pendergast district. Part of a school board's responsibility is to continuously enhance their leadership to be able to provide sound governance and develop a focus that is visionary, strategic, and future-oriented. Through the years, Susan has been intentionally enhancing her leadership skills to be able to best serve her community. Congratulations to Susan Sarin for being named an All Arizona School Board Member Award recipient.
Congratulations, Ms. Sarin. Mr. White?
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. Thank you, Dr. Cruz. On behalf of the board, I just want to say congratulations to Ms. Sarin. Again, your service and leadership to the district and your institutional knowledge and just always being visible in our district and especially near and dear to my heart, the Pillows for Kiddos and making sure that our kindergarten promotees are getting something to take along with them on their journey through our school. So once again, congratulations. And on behalf of the board, get you some nice flowers there. I don't think they can be seen on camera, but also a card of congratulations and a gift card as well.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone. I have enjoyed, this is now my 36th year on the board, and it's like, wow, I've seen a lot of things over those 36 years for sure. But I've got to tell you, the board members I work with, Jose, Martine, Jet, and Hilda, I mean, you are terrific. You really are. And your number one thing is taking care of our students and taking care of our staff. And you know, that sure helps, having a cohesive board. And I love working with you. I really do. And I appreciate all you do. And to our staff, Dr. Cruz, I mean, everyone here, and Carrie, Ray, Joanne, Ramiro, Patty, Sheldon, and to all the staff. I mean, Pendergast is number one because of all of you. It truly is. You help make me look good, for one, and help make my job a lot easier. I appreciate all your support. To our student board members, thank you so much for doing what you do, and to our entire 8th grade superintendent council. You're the upcoming leaders. Hey, if you stay in our district, one day, I hope several of you are on the school board to continue with it. But thank you. I appreciate this honor. Thank you for nominating me. I am really humbled by it. I really am. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Dr. Cruz, I'll throw it back to you for Be Recognized awards.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, student board members, cabinet, and community. It is School Board Appreciation Month, and I'm not sure that folks know that the elected officials who serve in our local school boards are some of those elected officials who probably make the biggest difference in the quality of your day-to-day life because of the impact that they have on our families and the community through what's happening in our schools. And so we are truly blessed to have such 5 amazing school board members. And so in observance of School Board Recognition Month, we'd like to take this opportunity to show our year-round appreciation truly for our elected leaders who are key to building the future here in the Pendergast Elementary School District. You serve as this crucial bridge between our local community and the school district, and our school board members are elected to establish the policies that provide the framework for the district schools. On a personal note, I really do just want to thank you all so much for your thoughtful leadership, for you know, just being bright, interested, and involved people. You're there when I need you, and you know, you ask good questions, which I truly appreciate. You know, you make us think hard, you make us work hard on behalf of kids, and that's what you should do. So I truly, on a personal level, I can't thank each of you enough for everything that you do and just for who you are. So I'm going to ask everyone to please join me in thanking and recognizing our governing board members who are the recipients of the Be Recognized awards for this month. That's Jet White, our governing board president, Senator Martin Quesada, our governing board vice president, Susan Sarin, our Pendergast board member, Hilda Ortega Rosales, our governing board member, and Jose Arenas, Pendergast governing board member. And I've got just a brief write-up about our incredible board members here. So again, you know, we can take a moment to be grateful and thankful for those folks who I think behind the scenes provide so much for so many. All right, Mr. White, current president of our Pendergast Governing Board. Mr. White currently teaches math in the Phoenix Union High School District. He has a master's degree in secondary education and a master's in administration and supervision. In addition to math, he's certified to teach social studies, English, American government, career and technical education, and holds a principal certificate. Mr. White, it's a good thing you couldn't be both on the governing board and employed with us, because Patty would be after you. Mr. White has been a resident of the district since 2013. He and his wife, Mary, are the parents of 2 young daughters, one who attends school in our district. He's a strong supporter of public education and is serving to ensure that all students in Pendergast receive an excellent and equitable education. We're so grateful for his service and all that he does for our students, staff, and community. Thank you, Mr. White. All right, and next we'd like to recognize Senator Martin Quesada, our current Pendergast Governing Board Vice President. Senator Martin Quesada, Governing Board Vice President, is an attorney committed to social justice. He currently serves as a state senator representing Legislative District 29 in Maryvale and Glendale. He was elected to the Senate in the 2014 general election after serving 2 terms in the Arizona State House of Representatives. Senator Quesada recently announced that he's running for Arizona Treasurer. He is the first Democratic candidate to enter the 2022 race for that position. He's an education advocate and champion for children. Senator Quesada works diligently to create innovative programs that focus attention on the needs of all students. And I just also want to say on a personal note that Senator Quesada asks great questions, as he should, and is a fantastic thought partner. So I just really appreciate his curiosity, his willingness to ask questions, and to really, listen to other folks. So thank you, Senator Quesada, for being an advocate truly for your community. The Pendergast District is proud of all that he's accomplished to better our schools and communities. All right, and Susan Sarin, our Pendergast Governing Board member. You all had the opportunity to see that fantastic video about Ms. Sarin. She is one of our Governing Board members and has been an exceptional and active leader in the Pendergast community. She has proudly served on the Pendergast School District Governing Board for 36 consecutive years and has exhibited leadership throughout her tenure. If you are looking for Ms. Sarin, you're going to find her in our school district celebrating a student, helping a staff member, or just lifting somebody up. So, what I really appreciate about Ms. Sarin is her presence, and you really feel her presence throughout the school district. So thank you for making that kind of time for us. I feel like we really are part of your extended family. Hope you have a really big table because we're going to come over for dinner sometime. All right. Ms. Sarin has received numerous commendations and awards for her work in the community. She was recently honored with the All Arizona School Board Member Award from the Arizona School Boards Association, which is ASBA's highest individual board member honor. Through the years of serving on the Pendergast School District Governing Board, she's remained dedicated to advocating for the people of the community and helping students achieve and reach success. Ms. Sarin is a remarkable leader, and we're so grateful to have her as a member of the Pendergast School District Governing Board. All right. And Ms. Hilda Ortega Rosales, Pendergast Governing Board member. Ms. Hilda Ortega Rosales, Pendergast Governing Board member, has served on the Pendergast School Governing Board for 22 years. That's it? Oh, man. Throughout her tenure, she has been a fierce advocate of academic excellence for all students. Ms. Ortega Rosales recently retired from the Tolleson Union High School District, where she served as the Grants and Federal Programs Director and Human Resources Director for over 17 years. In addition, she has over 20 years of experience in corporate sector leadership. Ms. Ortega Rosales has received numerous professional and community awards and honors for outstanding performance and community volunteerism. She has a heart to serve and believes that success is measured by how much you give back to others. Because of the struggles her parents endured as immigrants, her drive to help others was ignited early on in life. As a first-generation college graduate, she's passionate about her community, advocating on behalf of the voiceless, education, social justice, and mentoring others. And truly, Ms. Ortega Rosales is so interested in advocating for this community and truly believes in her community. She's been a fantastic thought partner for me, has really been encouraging, us to be connected with our colleagues in other school districts to make sure that not just Pendergast excels, but that the region excels. And I really do appreciate that she's always there as a thought partner. Whenever I pick up the phone, she answers and she says, yes, I've got time. And so I just really appreciate her generous spirit, not just for us, but also for some of the other volunteer activities that she does. And we're just thankful for Ms. Ortega Rosales' service and leadership that she offers the Pendergast community. All right, and Mr. Jose Arenas is also a Pendergast Governing Board member. He's a remarkable ambassador and strong advocate for the Pendergast Elementary School District. Every year during the holidays, he dedicates countless hours to the Arenas family and the Pendergast Foundation Holiday Toy Drive, which benefits our Pendergast students and families. I think it's of note that in this school district, if a family needs support to make sure that every child has a present under that Christmas tree, they get it. And that's because of Mr. Arenas' commitment to the community, not just the education, but the wellness of every child. And I appreciate that. Every year during the holidays, he dedicates those countless hours to the Arenas Family Toy Drive, and he currently serves as the Chief Human Resources Officer at the Isaac Elementary School District. Over the years, he has served in multiple leadership roles at the campus level as well as the district level. Mr. Arenas is attentive and listens carefully to the needs of students, staff, families, and communities of the district. His main focus is to serve all children and ensure that they receive the best education possible. Mr. Arenas is a well-respected leader of the community who leads with empathy, integrity, and honesty. And when I have a question, if I'm wondering about something, then the person to call is Jose, because I know that he's going to ask good questions and he's going to lead with that integrity and ethics lens and with love. And I appreciate that about him. So thank you for being such a thoughtful person for me. I've relied on your leadership throughout the course of this last really interesting school year. And we're so proud to have him as a member of the Pendergast School District Governing Board. Those are our amazing key recognized award winners, and truly couldn't be more thankful to have the opportunity to serve you all and for your advocacy and for your empathy for the school district and for the staff. Thank you. We really genuinely appreciate you.
Should I share my screen?
Yeah, does Ray have a video, Dr. Cruz?
Here we are on top of the stars. Never thought we'd ever get this far. We live for moments like this. We come alive in moments like this. Here we are, this is a time, like a dream coming to life. We live for moments like this. We come alive in moments like this. In moments like this. I try to take a breath, thoughts racing through my head. I try to capture it, but a picture can't hold what a heart is feeling. I just wanna stop the world from spinning, slow it all down for a minute, so that I can take it in. I can take it in. Here we are, on top of the stars. Never thought we'd ever get this far. We live for moments like this. Come alive in moments like this. Here we are, this is the time, like a dream coming to life. We live for moments like this. Come alive in moments like this. In moments like this. I don't wanna close my eyes, I'm feeling so alive. I try to find the words, but no words can say what my heart is feeling. I just wanna stop the world from spinning, slow it all down for a minute, so that I can take it in. I can take it in. Here we are, on top of the stars. Never thought we'd ever get this far. We live for moments like this. Come alive in moments like this. Here we are, this is the time, like a dream coming alive. We live for moments like this. Come alive in moments like this. We'll hold up the light, burn a hole in the night. When we are here, when we are here. So we'll hold up the light, burn a hole in the night. When we are here, when we are here. Moments like this. Every day is the right day. It's easy to understand. 'Cause you get the chance and you take it, make it the best you can make it. Why should you hold back? It's the time of your life. You don't wanna miss out on right here and now. There's so many reasons why you don't wanna stop. It's your chance, live it up. In everything you do, set everyone has a reason to celebrate. Yeah, 'cause you get the chance and you take it, make it the best you can make it. What you waiting for today? It's the time of your life. You don't wanna miss out on right here and now. There's so many reasons why you don't wanna stop. It's your chance, live it up. Everything you do, celebrate you. Everybody now, celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Oh, everything you do, celebrate you. Celebrate you. Celebrate you. Celebrate you.
Again, Mr. President, esteemed board members, student board members, cabinet in the audience, thank you is not enough, but it's what we've got. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for your service to the community and especially to the service to this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. Thank you, Mr. Pulmeyer, for putting that together as well. That was really good. That was really, really great. All right. At this time, Carrie, are there any citizens' comments?
Yes, we do have one.
Thank you. All right. So before Carrie reads that, pursuant to ARS 38431.01H, this governing board agenda item provides an open call to the public, allowing individuals to address the governing board on issues within the jurisdiction of the governing board. Speakers will be given 2 minutes and will only address non-agenda topics under this agenda item unless an exception is granted by the board president. Statute prohibits the governing board from discussing an item that is not on the agenda. Governing board members are not permitted to discuss or take legal action on the agenda. Board members are not permitted to discuss or take legal action on matters raised during the open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. However, the law permits governing board members to do the following at the conclusion of the open call to the public: A, respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the governing board; B, ask staff to review a matter; or C, ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. The governing board discourages members of the public from using the call to the public portion of the agenda to make complaints against school personnel or persons connected with the district. Instead, members of the public are encouraged to use the complaint forms and process set forth in governing board policies KE, KEB, KEC, and KED, which are available on the district's website or at the district office.
I will be reading the citizen's comment that was submitted by Robert Younger before the 12 o'clock deadline today, January 18th, under the topic of the 8th grade student council trip and COVID. As the COVID numbers are higher now than when the nation closed 2 years ago, how is going to Washington a good idea with the students when schools can't safely take field trips to areas local? They would be in a bus. Where the students traveling to Washington are going to be in an airplane that will be packed of people. As I understand that we don't want the students missing out on these great experiences unless you rent a plane for only the students. As our schools are experiencing parents who come into the office to announce that they have COVID. What is to stop the people on the airplane from doing the same? Then we are subjecting them to it. Plus, when they return, they could be endangering their families and the schools even more.
Thank you, Carrie. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through F.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sarin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez Rosales. Is there any discussion? So So I did want to bring up, and I know that that we've talked about this, Dr. Cruz, a little bit, but I do want to bring it up for item B on the consent agenda. It did make my eyebrows raise just a little bit seeing it on there. And so Dr. Cruz, can you just talk a little bit about, and I know we have the presentation, I think, and some of the documents about the trip to Washington, and I think on the second page maybe, or I don't remember. It's in here about some of the health and safety and mitigation. So can you talk a little bit about the mitigation and about the trip?
Mr. President, esteemed board members, student board members, cabinet, and the community. Yes, so as you know, there's an 8th grade superintendent student council. So we are privileged to have 2 students from each school representing at a group where we get to do some leadership building with them and other kinds of activities throughout the school year. We have previously taken the superintendent student council on a trip to go see an architecture firm. So we have been on field trips with them before, and cabinet does approve field trips that fit with our mitigation plan. So this particular field trip is actually coming forward for board approval at this time, because when we're going to take students on an overnight field trip, we do need to get governing board approval 30 days in advance. This trip in particular has been scheduled for quite some time. In fact, I believe that Mrs. Polmeyer could probably get in the Wayback Machine before I had this role and could talk with you about the previous trip that had been planned to China and then I believe to Belize, both of which had to be canceled as a result of health and safety conditions. And so at the beginning of this year, again, expanding and contracting with COVID, we believe that in the spring, it would be an opportunity for us to take our 8th grade superintendent student council students to Washington, D.C. for a few days to have them experience the nation's capital. And so that is the trip that we are proposing. So this is an interesting trip for us because we're traveling in a group. We actually aren't traveling the way that I'm used to traveling, which is subways, public transportation, Uber, things like that. It doesn't work like that when you're traveling with students. So we will actually be using charter buses to take students around. You'll note that most of the activities actually on the trip, we're going to have an opportunity to build character. We're going to be on like the hop on, hop off bus to go see the national monuments. We would have the opportunity to lay a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery, which we think is a unique and important honor for our students to experience. And we'll also be kind of having a day sort of outside. We're doing lots of outside activities, which is what we ask of our students. We do have, hopefully the opportunity to meet with representatives to the great state of Arizona in Congress. And so again, those would be in our group. The District of Columbia actually has our mitigation process as a requirement for all public venues. So the District of Columbia currently requires masking and social distancing. And so we believe that this event, although it is an odd time for this to be coming forward right now, we believe it does follow the mitigation protocol. I do want to note, though, that we take very seriously our obligation to keep our staff and our students safe. And honestly, I think it's very difficult for us to know right now what things are going to look like in a month. If things are not safe, we simply will not go. If things are safe as they can be, right, in the times that we currently live in, then we would like to ask the board's permission to take the students on this unique trip. Ms. Polmeyer did do some research. The travel company, again, there's some credit associated with previous trips that were canceled, and so they're not sure what it would look like for us to cancel. And in terms of that credit that exists from previous board approval, what would happen with that funding? But again, our main focus is on student and staff safety. And so obviously, yes, we're not walking or riding our bicycles to DC. We will be on an airplane. And we did purchase N95 masks for our students for every day that they would be on this event. So we are also, we worked with our partners who support this event. Again, this is not M&O. This is not a regular budget expenditure. This is something that has come from fundraising activities that the students have done, and also from just some amazing community members who want students to have this kind of opportunity. And so that's the funding source for this too. So it is M&O neutral.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz.
Hmm.
Ms. Aaron.
Mr. President, and I just want to add, and I know Dr. Cruz and I were talking about the trip, and students and sponsors, everyone will be tested, and testing kits are going to go along with us on the trip. So, and we also had a Zoom meeting with the parents, and they're on board. The mitigation plans and everything were told to them, and they had questions, they asked their questions. And I think the parents are really excited for our students too. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity for them.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Carrie, roll call, please.
Zay Arenas,
Yes.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Yes.
Susan Sarin,
Yes.
Martin Cazada,
Yes.
and Jet White.
Yes.
There being 5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, Carrie. Dr. Cruz, are there any new hires or other announcements that you would like to make at this time?
Mr. President, esteemed board members, student board members, cabinet, and the community, it is my honor to welcome some new members of the Pendergast family. I'm going to start with Dominic Macas, a teacher at Villa de Paz, Amparo Medina Perez, a school social worker. We're very excited to have our school social workers staff back up. Hooray. Also, for our support staff, we are very privileged to welcome Haley Bailey as an instructional assistant at Sonoran Sky, Candace Bean as an instructional assistant at Sonoran Sky, Jaden Curry, an instructional assistant at Garden Lakes, Rhonda Davis, a bus attendant, Sasha Gallegos Romero, a K-3 instructional assistant at Sonoran Sky, Larissa Garcia Atkinson, a K-3 assistant at Sonoran Sky, Tyler Lynch, an instructional assistant in the social skills program, Soleil Ridgway, an instructional assistant in the social skills program, and Anna Smith, an instructional assistant in preschool. Welcome to all of you. I believe in you, and we're so glad that you have joined the Pendergast community.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz, and welcome again to our new hires. This evening, we have a presentation from Dr. Brown and the Educational Services team about our continued partnership with WestMec. Dr. Brown, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. President, esteemed board members, members of cabinet, and of course, our student board members. Tonight, I have the privilege of introducing our amazing curriculum and innovation director, Dr. Gwen Marr, to talk to us about this partnership. We're so excited to not only be part of the WestMec group, but to have that ongoing relationship and to really be able to do some important things with our middle school students that we would not otherwise be able to offer to our students as we try and develop them into the best versions of themselves. So Dr. Marr, Director of Curriculum and Innovation, is going to give us a quick overview of where we're at right now with that WestMec partnership.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. President, esteemed members of the board, student board members, Dr. Cruz, cabinet, and members of the community. It is an honor to be here this evening, and I am excited to share with you what we are doing in regards to our ongoing robust partnership with WestMec. As all things that we do in the district, we want to make sure that it strategically and intentionally aligns to our profile of a graduate. And quite frankly, this partnership with WestMec does just that seamlessly. Our partnership with WestMec truly helps us and supports us in developing all of these characteristics in each of our students. And we are truly grateful for this partnership, as it provides ample program for our students across all 12 of our schools. The goals of our partnership with WestMec really can fall into these 4 categories. Truly, we want to increase students' understanding about career options around scientific fields, particularly STEM. We really want to increase the number of students that take CTE courses in high school through WestMec and earn completion certificates. We know that this will help earning potentials for families and communities and the economy in our district and beyond. We also want to increase project-based learning opportunities for our students because we know that these opportunities really engage our students at the highest levels and create the skills that we want our students to gain as they matriculate through our district and head into high school. And lastly, we really want to make sure that we provide robust STEAM-related activities in our junior high. WestMech is really to target our 7th and 8th grade students and what they're experiencing during their middle school. So currently, we have quite a few of our projects and initiatives funded through WestMech. Our chief science officers which you will hear about in a couple of months at a board update. ASU Prep Digital, which is the advanced courses that our students take. I know you saw in the week in review our outstanding passing rate this year for our students. I think they earned around 138 high school credits with a 100% pass rate in geometry and English and a 98% rate in algebra. Absolutely outstanding. You know, I really want to note there that the pass rate, they have to earn an A or a B. It's not a D or above, it's an A or a B to get credit. And so that truly speaks to our students, all of our site leads for the ASU Digital Prep, and of course, Karen Hyatt for her ongoing support of that program. It really is remarkable. We currently also have a partnership with Define Learning, which is a project-based learning platform that our students engage with throughout science. Fuse, which you all had an intro to so far in some of our board updates, but we look forward to when we can get into schools and really see Fuse in action in the maker spaces. We have a new partnership this year called TechSmart, and I'm actually really excited because we kind of are forging the way, if you will. TechSmart has a partnership with Via de Paz, and the students in 8th grade who will learn the Python coding program. What TechSmart does is it offers a hybrid coding curriculum so that students move from block coding into line coding through this hybrid programming. And they actually can graduate 8th grade if they pass the Python assessments with Python certification. Most high schoolers through computer science programs don't obtain that certificate. So this really sets our students apart. So much so, TechSmart was so energized by our partnership that actually TechSmart now is partnering with the state of Arizona and the computer science program through the state. And so I am very proud of Pendergast for being ahead of the curve with that. We also started with WestMech last year. You know, Dr. Cruz and I were talking and we said, what can we do to bridge the gap between 8th grade and high school? Research shows that students really need to be engaged in some sort of summer programming to help them be successful within their freshman year. Freshman year really sets the foundation for the success in high school. And so we reached out to WestMech and said, hey, we really want to offer something during summer programming to offer our 8th graders who are leaving and matriculating on to high school. What can we do? So we developed the Orange Life Experience in partnership with WestMech, and it was a great success. I think we had about 50 students participate last year. In fact, WestMech found it to be so successful that I found out last week while talking to WestMech that they are offering not just a 2-day program, but a week-long summer camp for us this coming summer. And they are actually now offering this Orange Life Experience at every single one of their WestMech campuses. And this really stemmed from a partnership with Pendergast. So I'm also incredibly proud of the work that our teachers and our partnership with WestMech. We also want to encourage STEAM professional learning for our staff. You know, it's one thing to offer these programs for our students, but it's really important that our staff is trained in STEAM and understands the pedagogical approach to this type of learning. And we also want students to experience STEAM through various field trips. So where are we headed? we want to continue to look forward and to continue to strengthen our partnership with WestMec. And one of those ways we believe that we can do so is to really strengthen our FUSE implementation. You know, implementing FUSE wall to wall across all 12 schools this year was a big endeavor in the middle of a pandemic, and we're very proud of our leaders and teachers for taking this on. They've done extraordinary work, but we want to continue to strengthen that. We also are going to initiate and start a CSO, a Chief Science Officer of the Year award through our district. Catherine Linhart is our new STEAM and Tech Integration Specialist, which is bullet number 3 here, and she really wants to take Chief Science Officer to the next level. And so she's partnering with the organization to determine criteria, and we're going to highlight students as CSOs of the Year. We also want to continue to provide field trips to businesses and WestMec campuses so that students are able to see themselves on campus. We want to continue to develop students' understanding of a faster way forward. So a faster way forward is really the WestMec's mission to ensure that students see themselves in career and technology and STEAM-related fields, and the earlier the better. It's okay if a student's plan changes. We want to ensure that every student has a plan. So we know that it might change a few times, but it's very important that they see a future and they really work towards developing a really strong post-secondary plan as well. And then lastly, we really want to connect our Chief Science Officer program with Makerspace to really create human-centered design spaces for our students. So I wanted to be really transparent about where the money goes that WestMec gives us. And so you will see that the majority of our money goes to project-based resources, again, because we know that that's the best, most robust, pedagogically sound way for students to learn. And then you'll see Makerspace FUSE because we really want to ensure that we support this new way of teaching and learning. TechSmart Coding, you'll see there, was an addition this year, but WestMec actually gave us additional funding to start this partnership with TechSmart. So it didn't actually come out of our annual allotment. It was in addition, which is very exciting. And you will see there then the Chief Science Officer, our ASU Digital Prep, career awareness and professional development for our teachers. And I'm really proud of the professional development line there, because what that says is we value the growth and development of our teachers, and you know, we truly do want them to grow and succeed in and outside of the classroom. And so the professional development that we offer through this funding is truly a gift, and we're very fortunate for that. So at this time, we will take any questions or comments, and I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Marr. Questions or comments?
Mr. President. Thank you. First of all, thank you for that excellent presentation. You know, as I reviewed this earlier in the day, preparing for today's meeting, one of the things that struck me is that, again, we are fitting everything into how does this support and move forward our profile of a graduate strategy. And, you know, CTE has been seen as, in the past, you do CTE when you are not wanting to go to a 2-year or 4-year university or college. And that has changed quite a bit in the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years. And what I see is that we're just adding more choices and more exposure to opportunities for our children. The fact, and we're doing it at an earlier age. It used to be focused just on the high school environment, and now we're taking it to the middle school. And what that says to our kids is, you know, if you want to be competitive in today's environment and into tomorrow's environment, you need to take on all those opportunities. And so you may be very involved in a WestTech MEC program, starting at middle school through high school, and still decide to go to a university. That's a choice that you can make. And so through the programs that have just been shared with us will help our students to better prepare and take advantage of those opportunities. And you know, this didn't happen. If you could bear with me just a little bit of background behind where we are today and where we were in the past in terms of that WestMec funding that we receive. This is actually a taxpayer approved funding mechanism. Through our approval from our taxpayers about, I would say what it is, maybe 18 years ago, we were asked if we would be interested, and obviously the citizens of our district said, yes, we want to be involved. And I believe it was about $15,000 a year, if not $20,000 that we started with. And at that time, it was pretty much a budget that just helped to provide, I believe, a stipend to some of our teachers to coordinate a CTE fair so that our kids could then look at what kind of career or what kind of program do I want to go into. And through the years, the funding of that has grown. And with previous administration and now with our current administration, what we did is we built a very strong partnership with the WestMec administrators, the executives, and sat down with them and said, you know, this is about making a difference for our kids and making sure that we're truly leveraging every penny that our taxpayers are allowing us to have. And that's what we've done. If you look at the rigor, the competitive programs that are being shared with us, we weren't there even 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. And so I want to congratulate everybody that's been involved in continuing to make this, to me, one of the more competitive programs within the state. And so thank you to our community. We are stewards of the taxpayers' money. And this is a very good example of where we're making a difference and taking, $150,000 about $160,000 rounded. In today's environment, that's not a lot of money, but it is a lot of money for us, and we're going to make the best of it. So congratulations to everybody that's been involved in this. That's what helps when you've been on the board a long time, right, Susan? We can share those stories.
Exactly.
Thank you. Ms. Aaron.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Mark, great presentation. I really appreciate it. I know one of the goals you said increase the number of students that take CTE courses. Do you have a plan for that for the future of getting more students involved?
Thank you, Member Sarah and President White. Excellent question. In fact, currently we do not have a process for tracking students in high school that take CTE courses, but that is actually in discussion right now with WestMec, is how can we really track the impact of our partnership in middle school all the way through high school, right? You know, there is an effort where high schools they're trying to track students once they graduate high school and go on. But what are we doing really to track our impact from middle school to high school? Because that matriculation is critical. And so currently, no, but that absolutely is in discussion. And I very much appreciate that question because I think it is the absolute right next step for us.
Great, thank you. And the Orange Life experience, that sounds interesting. Can you give just a 1-minute overview on that, of what the kids are involved with during the summer in that program?
Absolutely. President White, Member Sarah. They were involved with 2 days on campus in WestMec. They arrived and they actually experienced class as if they were a student at WestMec. And so they did a coding class. They explored the aviation program. They did a little bit of algebra. maybe much to their chagrin in the middle of summer, but they did. And they actually got to experience it as a student on campus. They were provided snacks. They met the instructors. The instructors actually were given professional development time to plan these days and to really engage with our students. So they experienced life as a student at WestMec. And that's where the name Orange Life Experience came from, because WestMec is, their colors are orange and they're very proud of that. So.
Oh, that is great. Thank you so much.
Other comments or questions? Yeah, so Dr. Mar, again, thank you for the presentation. You know, I'm happy to see on one of the slides talking about you know, human-centered design for the space, and if I'm understanding correctly, the relationship between those CSOs and Makerspace and maybe some of the planning that goes into that as well. I think that gets lost oftentimes. And yet another thing I think Dr. Cruz and I have talked about, right, of just like, just because we have X amount of square feet and it looks really good on paper, like how much of that square feet is actually usable? What is that going to be for the end user? What's it going to be for the facilitator that's in that space? And I know that Lauren and I had the opportunity, thanks to Dr. Cruz, to go and peek over at Garden Lakes and the Fuse Lab over there and some of that more creative space. And so really, really excited to see the rollout, and really, really excited to actually have that process start in the usable space and that translate over to what students are doing in their CTE field eventually down the road. It's kind of already been said, but I'll kind of blend my experience in the CTE world, and hopefully Dr. Cruz doesn't throw anything at me or do if I cross the line. But I think ultimately, like, you know, this, I know that this is helpful for our students, right? And like, and I don't know a nicer way of saying it, of like what we get out of it other than giving our students the opportunity, because in my mind, right, really it's our students and high school that are really going to be benefiting from this, right? We are readying our students to kind of taste what's out there for CTE and then become completers. And especially as CTE has now dropped down to 9th grade in high school versus 10th grade, right? Now, you know, 3-year programs don't seem, 3-year programs like engineering don't seem, you know, so cumbersome. 2-year programs like software development, and on and on and on. And, you know, and I think that it still exists where if students pass their test, once they become completers, that program at the high school level then gets some funding from the state as kind of an incentive and a reward for those students. So again, like I am happy that our voters in our community has approved this for WestMec and our partnership, and I'm happy for our students, and I'm sure, I hope that our partner high schools are also going to be happy with the caliber of students and the readiness of students that we are producing, and again give students an opportunity to really see what's out there, so that then they really can become completers, because it's really hard to kind of navigate the seat. Once you're in that track, it's really hard to jump out and become a completer, and that's unfortunate for our students and for the as the school as well. All right.
No, President White, just great presentation. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Mar and Dr. Brown. Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Mar. This evening, we also have a presentation from Dr. Brown and Ms. Fimbres on ADM audit findings. Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President, esteemed members of the board, Dr. Cruz, cabinet, and our student board members, and a special shout out to our student board members speaking up and asking questions or finding ways to get those put in the chat. I love that you're on top of things, and that also speaks to the quality of students that we are working to create as far as that profile of a graduate, and making sure that they are advocating for themselves, they're engaged, they're following, and they're questioning us. So keep those questions coming our way. We really appreciate it and are happy to partner with you. I'm going to share my screen so that Ms. Fimbres and I can discuss the recent ADM audit with the Department of Education. But it helps if you can see it as well. All right, here we go. So we're going to talk a little bit about our average daily membership audit findings. This audit happened at the beginning of this school year, and the Department of Education periodically comes in just to make sure that things look the way they're supposed to look. And so it was our turn for an audit, and they looked at the fiscal years 2018, 2019, and 2020. They looked at approximately 3,000 student records, and they were looking at data related to payments to the district for those 3 fiscal years, enrollment data, how we registered our students, those files, the number of our instructional hours or instructional minutes by school, by grade level, and also the special education services and file data. So any students who were in the files who also received any special services were looked at with an additional lens as well to make sure that everything was in compliance. From that audit of over 3,000 files, we had 3 findings that spanned across all 3 years. The first is some inaccurate reporting of some of our student data. At our middle school students at one of our sites were not provided sufficient instructional hours per the state's definition. We'll talk a little bit more about each of these and what that meant and where that came from. And the district did not properly maintain some of our student records as they are required by statute and guidelines. And so as we go through these, you'll find that there are little nuances to each of these. And so it's not that we didn't do any of these things. It's all about, was the T crossed the way we needed it crossed on that particular day based on that particular year. And so we'll give you an overview of our findings, the financial impact, and what we're doing as far as corrective action to make sure that we learn from these audits. The beauty of audits and those findings is that you get to find out, okay, where could we be a little bit stronger? Where do we need to refresh or tighten our systems? And then we build from there. And so our first audit, the inaccurate reporting of some student data, is what resulted in the largest overpayment of approximately $101,000. That was related to excessive and consecutive student absences, enrollment and exit reporting, and homebound certification. In total, that was about 36 students who were part of this finding, making up this amount of money. The excessive and consecutive student absences refer to things such as the state's requirement that after 10 unexcused absences in a row, the student needs to be immediately dropped. And so if that student was dropped on the 12th day instead, that would have been a finding. Or if we had students who missed more than 18 days or 10% of the threshold, even though they were excused absences, if the paperwork for homebound instruction or for a chronic illness student condition was not exactly the way the state wanted it, then that would have resulted in an overpayment, even though the absence may have been an excused absence. And then the enrollment and exit reporting, sometimes it was 2 or 3 students who the date that the student was withdrawn was not on the correct date as when they match that up with whatever the student's next school's registration is. And so typically the schools get together and talk to each other about, okay, his last day here was on the 14th and his first day at this new school was on the 15th. So when those don't match up exactly the way we need them to, that accounts for some of that enrollment or exit reporting not being on the exact date that people were hoping to see based on what our records said. Finding 2, middle school students at one of our sites were not provided sufficient instructional hours, which resulted in an overpayment of just shy of $24,000. This refers to specifically fiscal year 2018. This was our Red for Ed year, and 96% of our minutes were accepted as instructional, but specifically it's our 7th and 8th grade students at Amberlea who were dinged for not having had access to the full instructional minutes. With that said, we do want to clarify that we were able to provide some documentation to the state because part of that stemmed from the board having approved a change to the calendar, so some half days became full days. A notice was sent out to families as well. And so the lasting part of that we were not able to account for is that there was a 10-minute block on the schedule for a homeroom period that at that time was not recognized as instructional time by the state. And the bigger issue is that the homeroom was at the end of the day rather than at the beginning of the day. And so it was this little random technicality. And so that's why Per their calculations, students did not have the number of instructional minutes at that single site, but for all you parents who are listening, your students were in great hands if they were in 7th and 8th grade at Amberlia in 2018. And the additional hiccup in trying to get the documentation for those 10 minutes is that, you know, that's a school under new management. We have new administrators there. The majority of the teaching staff there are also brand new. And so this is no longer an issue, but for 2018 reporting purposes, that's where that missing instructional minutes package came from. And then the audit finding 3, the district did not properly maintain student records as required by statute and guidelines. This did not result in an overpayment, but it was a reminder that we need to make sure that our documentation is appropriate. Specifically, they spoke to the need to make sure that we reaffirm residency annually. All of our families are supposed to confirm that the students still live at wherever it is, that the address that we have on file is the address that the student still resides at, that they're still in district, or that they're open enrollment students. And then birth certificates, were required to request those as part of the enrollment packet. And we had 2 birth certificates that were found to be birth certificates for students who were born abroad, which the state does not recognize or allow as enrollment documentation. And so they've shared with us the process and what has to be submitted in addition to or instead of the birth certificates. So we had birth certificates on file. They just were not, they were from births abroad. And so the state wanted a different additional documentation to go along with those 2 students. And again, there was not an overpayment associated with that specific finding. Our largest course correction is with regard to the inaccurate reporting of some of our student data. And this is a matter of making sure that our systems are as tightly aligned as possible and that we're spot checking each other more often. Specifically, we are increasing our training for our classified staff because they're the ones that we're overloading the most with the needs to withdraw students, enroll students. And so really just making sure that we're following up with them and giving them ongoing reminders and training about whatever the most current withdrawal codes are, how to report absences, and making sure that everything that we enter is accurate. We're also formalizing our homebound and chronic illness process a little bit more. We had paperwork, we had a process, but sometimes you need that reminder, especially coming out of the craziness that's been the last couple of years in education. We could all use that refresher of what's the document that gets turned in on what day and who does it go to. And so our exceptional student services team and our enrollment team are working together to make sure that we have a really formalized process that also gets spot checked. And that's training that we would provide, not just for our classified staff, but also to remind our leadership of some of those steps as well, including a cross-check, because everyone's doing their best. Everyone's doing fantastic work, but sometimes things slip through the cracks. And so just cross-checking across the teams between the site and the district, because some of this stuff happens at a district level. Some components happen at the site level. And if we don't speak to each other frequently enough, then we end up with a couple of little gaps that we don't have to have moving forward. And then finally, we're implementing our own internal spot check reviews and notifications. We know exactly what the state's looking for, how they go about doing that, because we've had this audit. And so the enrollment team led by Mr. Wallen, they're looking to build out some internal checks for us. They're going to send out more frequent notifications to our sites and pull some of those reports that maybe are getting a little bit lost because we're all overwhelmed right now, and just checking for themselves to make sure that, you know, this month we're going to pull 2 kids from each school who have a certain number of absences and just see where we're at with that paperwork, or we'll pull an enrollment form and make sure that it has all the components. Just checks and balances for ourselves so that we have done our due diligence in trying to make sure that nothing is slipping through the cracks until we reform that habit a little bit. The middle school students not receiving the sufficient instructional hours, we will continue to follow the ADE guidelines for instructional minutes, which have also since been revised. And so even the schedule from 2018 would meet the current expectations for instructional minutes. And so if it had been any other school year, even that year's schedule would have been fine. But just to be safe, we're adding extra eyes for our staff, for our site principals. And so we're doing annual master schedule reviews by the Ed Services team. We've already collected all of the master schedules for this year to give them an additional look besides just the initial upload that happens at the beginning of the school year, because we do want to make sure that we're in compliance with those state guidelines. So thank you to my team, who I'm sure is listening, for that extra set of eyes as well in case I missed something. And the district did not properly maintain student data. This is the address or the residency verification. And in that one, it's not even so much that we didn't do it, it's that ADE wanted to know what's the actual process that you use, like how do you prove it? How did you confirm that you did that? And so to address that, we've added a centralized Synergy address verification system, which really boils down to a checkbox in Synergy. And so we send home the student profile at the beginning of every school year, and then the students can send it back, or the families can send it back with any changes that need to be made. And so if it's a student who is returning and just rolling over from the previous year, ADE has confirmed for us that that process is fine, that as long as we send the profile home with the opportunity for families to make corrections, that counts as us having in good faith verified or reaffirmed their residency. So that has already been updated in our system. And then the 30-day compliance process for paperwork adjustment from families, that's in the event that we come across some non-standard documentation, such as those birth certificates. We have a very clear process now to follow up with our families to make sure that we can support them with getting whatever that adjusted documentation needs to look like. And so I'll pause and let Ms. Fimbres talk to us a little bit about the financial impacts.
President White, esteemed board members, Dr. Cruz, members of cabinet, members of our student board, and members of our audience. So looking at this further with the ADM and funding adjustment that we received from this ADM audit over fiscal years 18, 19, and 20. With the enrollment data and the instructional hours that they did audit, and of course the information that Dr. Brown did share, you can see in this chart that was provided by the auditors from this audit itself is the impact that we had year over year. So the impact that we had for fiscal year 18, the impact that we had over 19 and 20. 18 had the findings in the two areas with enrollment and instructional hours. And then of course with 19, we had solely in the enrollment side of things. So I know that earlier in an earlier slide, we did show the impact of the state revenue over the 3 years that were audited. They did total 116,603,537. So over the course of these 3 years, I did want to let the governing board know that that is the state aid that we received, over 116 million, just shy of 117 million that we did receive. So what does that look like with respect to the amount that we then had to have adjusted? And the adjustment of 125,689.66, that adjustment was made in the month of December. So ADE, School Finance Office, did make that adjustment to the funding that we received in the month of December. So the impact really was 0.11%. So I wanted to go ahead and let the board know that, you know, even though it was our turn to have this audit, I wanted to, you know, allow you the opportunity to know for those years, the revenue that we received and the impact of the 125,000. Of course, we do know that we have our course of action with respects to making sure that we do have our T's crossed, our I's dotted, and making sure that we don't run into these circumstances. But at the same time, I wanted to let you know the adjustment has been made. School Finance has already taken care of that for us, and that it was a 0.11% over the funding that we received in this fiscal year.
All right, thank you. So again, just to summarize, yes, we did have those 3 audit findings. Ms. Fimbres was able to let us know what that financial impact was and how that is in the grand scheme of things, but we are committed to not losing additional funding moving forward if there are things that we can do within our system to tighten those up. And so I'm confident that we're on the right path for that piece. And we look forward to updating you on the next audit that will hopefully be a ways away from now, years and years, and having no findings. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Thank you, Ms. Fimbres. Comments or questions from the board? Senator Quesada.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. And thank both of you for that information. That's very helpful. It seems to me like the cause of each of these findings were fairly minor. I don't want to say missteps, but just fairly minor kind of procedural things that we were doing that caused us these findings to be had. And it looks like we've taken care of all of that already with the way we've addressed all of those. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that that Ms. Fimbres kind of put it into the perspective given the last 3 years and our budget, or how much we've received in total, and how I think 0.11% is what you said. Yeah, when you put it in those numbers, 0.11% is definitely, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it is still $125,000. I mean, that's still a big chunk of money. And so I guess, I don't know if I'm making a comment or asking a question here, but I wanted to kind of acknowledge both of those things. One, it's a small percentage in the grand scheme of things, but it still is a pretty big number and a big chunk of change that we did have to make an adjustment for. And so I don't know if it's possible to kind of avoid these types of findings in the future. I mean, there's always going to be some sort of, procedural thing that you can never be perfect all the time. But I guess I just wanted to acknowledge that that's a big number, and so it is troubling to see that the size of that number. But given kind of the timing of all of this too, and when it actually happened in 2018 in particular, it's understandable how some of this stuff can happen. And so I appreciate the fact that we stayed on top of it and that we fixed this. And I guess I'm just urging us to always be on top of it as much as we can so that we avoid these findings. I know you already know that. I know you're already doing that, but I just wanted to kind of put that out there again. But thank you guys for all the work you did on this.
President White, Senator Quesada, our hardworking team deals with so much student data, and they're in Synergy and they're checking those boxes and they're making sure that everyone's got the right paperwork. And I think they are absolutely correct that we respect the fact that everyone is human, and we're really proud of the fact that we have as few errors as we do have, and also our first conversation was the gravity of this issue. When we are anxiously looking at, every dollar that's invested from our taxpayers, this is an area of concern for us, which is why, frankly, we spent so much time with the state trying to make sure that they were right and that they were giving us, adequate and appropriate feedback. And if anything, we certainly don't wish audits on ourselves, but we do wish feedback on ourselves, right? And so it's tough for us to go a career, to go 18 years and never have gotten feedback. And for them to have these level of jobs, right? Because it is both a point of pride that in 18 years we've never gotten feedback, and here's our feedback, relative to the size of the operating budget, and yet still, we've got to do better, and we know we need to do better. So I share your concern. I appreciate your comments. I think you could have been in our team meetings with us as we were breaking this all down. So I think you expressed that very well.
Mr. President,
sir.
I just want to thank you for the presentation, and Dr. Cruz, Dr. Brown, thank you for being transparent to the Pendergast community. I think, this is a plus that, we show, what has happened and then how we're fixing it. And when you look at it, the numbers, I think you said 36 students, when you look at that time, we had 9,000 students, 36 students isn't, it's not much. And yes, as we said, mistakes happen, but you took instant action and you're rectifying, what was done before with what should be done now, and I appreciate that. But I really, really appreciate the transparency to the community, and thank you so much for that. Ms. Van Brees too, thank you for putting in perspective, 0.11%, yes, thank you.
Thank you again. All right. Are there any items anyone would like to see added to a future board agenda?
President White, I don't have any items to add, but I do want to, sorry, I do want to, again, thank Ms. Saren for her work and everything you've done for this community. That was part of my, I almost blew the surprise, so I don't want to say anything too early. But as we end this meeting, I do want to thank you because again, personally, professionally, you've done a whole lot for me. Whether you know it or not, you really have, Ms. Saren. And I remember a few years ago when we dedicated the Sue Saren Beehive to, I think that spoke volumes about the community in terms of what they felt about you, what we feel about you, Ms. Saren. And certainly it was an honor for me to stand there and watch you glow because you deserved it. You didn't ask for it, you deserved it. It was all about you that night. Just like tonight's all about Ms. Saren. Tonight is your night. So thank you again. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. President.
I don't know if this is an item for just an update or an agenda item, but and I know Senator Quesada talked about this earlier in the meeting and did a good job of explaining some of the alternatives and a little bit about the spending cap. And I know that I've read a little bit about the spending cap. I've seen some numbers from other districts out there, which are quite alarming. And so again, I don't know if it's a week in review or if it's an actual presentation, maybe for us and for the community, just what the spending cap is and what that amount that Pendergast is looking at losing or going over, or whatever the right terminology is of changing the rules as the game has already started. So that's just something that's just on my mind of that effect for us. Because again, I've seen some very alarming numbers for other districts.
Mr. I can absolutely put that on. We can discuss.
Completely grasp where it is. I bet that Senator Quesada has a pretty good sense of where things are at right now. But certainly we can provide a factual overview of what the aggregate spending is and why, how it is impact public school districts. So that's something that we can provide.
That sounded good, Dr. Cruz. Just you were coming out clear. It wasn't coming through. Did everybody hear that? It was hard.
Oh, you missed my brilliant sir.
It wasn't you. Sounded good. I just couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Mr. President, in that case, I was brilliant. Really.
Any other future items? All right, our next board meeting will be on Tuesday, February 1st, 6 o'clock right here on Zoom and Facebook Live. Can I have a motion to adjourn the regular board meeting of January 18th, 2022?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Saren. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Arenas. Carry roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Yes.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Yes.
Susan Saren,
Yes.
Martin Quezada,
Yes.
and Jet White.
Yes.
There being 5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, Carrie. Have a great night, everyone.